Hello and welcome to Tim's BMW repairs and information. This is a very quick video in response to a comment I got on my YouTube channel, which is how do you keep the rear deck of the convertible looking good? Because the problem is it just fades to grey almost straight away. And you can try lots of stuff on it like Maguire's and Zano, all sorts of things. I've tried all sorts of things on this. And the problem is it lasts for 2 weeks and then it's back to grey again. Now, I've just finished the job on my E31 using Teak Oil, and what that does is gives a permanent finish to plastic parts. It will last 5 years and keep them looking really black. Now, I know the E31 plastics really take well to Teak Oil, but I'm not so sure about the E64. But I've done the job now and put Teak Oil on. You just use Teak Oil and a little bit of cloth to wipe it in, making sure you don't get it on the paint or anything. And using a little bit of cloth like this is so easy to avoid the paint. And then just see how it goes. At the moment it's looking absolutely perfect. It's got a matte finish, it's black, and it's back to the colour it was originally. And be interesting to see if it lasts 5 years, the same as the E31. But that'll take a while to check. So I'll keep you updated. But first of all, I'll show you exactly how it's done. And also show you what it looks like on the E31. Right, so the E31, I've done the front grills on it. They're just to the inside of the lights, and that looks absolutely perfect. They're back to black. I've done the door handles. There we go, that's the door handles. And they're absolutely perfect colour. They'll stay like that for 5 years. And the rear number plates around, that looks absolutely perfect as well. That is a beautiful black. So let's have a go on the E64 and see how it goes. I'll show you exactly how to do it. Now, there's a method I've used for quite a long time, for well over 20 years, on the E31 that gets black bits back to looking lovely. But it doesn't work on certain plastics, and I'm not sure if this is one of those plastics, but I'm going to give it a go. Anyway, the stuff which works is Teak Oil, and it's not varnish, it's an oil that soaks into and then leaves a hard covering on it. And you can use, say for instance, Maguire's Ultimate Black on this, and it will last about a month, maybe a bit less, because it does get all the weather. Whereas of course Teak Oil is designed to last for 5 years. So the plan is you have a tiny bit of cloth and some Teak Oil. And you just put the edge of the cloth in so it's not dripping or anything. And then you can apply it quite accurately so you can get right up to the edges. There you go, it's just a case of rubbing it in slowly. And then do one rub all the way round so you don't have any starts and stops. There we go. How's that looking? In real life that looks great. That doesn't look too bad at all. So it'll be interesting to see if that stays like that. It's going to take about a quarter of an hour, half an hour for it to dry enough to put the roof down. But yeah, that doesn't look too bad. And it'll accept the oil. Now some plastics accept Teak Oil and some don't, so it'd be interesting to see if this lasts for any length of time. So we've certainly got the colour back straight away, no doubt about that. That looks 100 times better. Whether it lasts any time, of course, is another question. On the E31 it lasts 5 years. So the plan is you put it on and then just give it a long wipe on each bit so there's no starts and stops. I've done this area here already, so it's looking fine. Need to stretch over. Probably would have been a good idea to do the middle first. So you don't have it so it's dripping off, just get some in the cloth, wipe it down as quickly as possible. Try to not get your jumper on it. And then with it folded up into this small shape, allows you to get it, give a nice sharp fold and get right to the edge. Now it doesn't need to go right to the edge, there's a sort of chamfer there. That's as far as we need to go. Don't need to go any further than that. Just try and get it even though, otherwise it'll be noticeable. And again, down a bit further. There we go. Right. Well, that looks as good as it does with Meguiar's Ultimate Black. Last rub over. So it all blends in. Follow the contours. There we go. Nice and even. Yeah, that's looking a lot better. Now, it might be that it just doesn't last any length of time, but it's going to last longer than Meguiar's Ultimate Black. I can be sure of that. So it'll be interesting to see how long this lasts. Might be you have to reapply it, and it might be you could do a couple of coats on it as well. But the idea with Teak Oil is it actually soaks in rather than just staying on the top. And it will sort of change its shininess as it dries as well. So be aware of that. Okay. Don't want it on the seals either. It does harden seals. There we go. Give it a good rubbing in. It's quite important. You can actually push the stuff in. Don't want it sitting on the top. You want it to soak in. Well, it certainly, as I say, it certainly works straight away, and it looks better. How long it lasts is another question, of course. Get the edge of it, so get right to the edge of that, but not the final chamfer, otherwise we'll get it on the paint. And it's important that it's on plastic rather than on a non-porous surface. Because it has to soak in, it doesn't just sit on the surface, as I said. Right, that's coming on nicely. Yeah, this rear deck's a real problem because it gets all the sun, of course. It's not covered up most of the time. Well, most of this area isn't covered up. And the sun just bleaches it out. Let's get this blast bit around the back here. This will be dry in about 10 minutes. So we could try another coat in 10 minutes. There we go, that's looking great. Got it far enough down. Let's go a bit further down this edge. Making sure I don't get it on the paint. There we go. Lovely. Right, well that looks pretty good. It's starting to dry off in areas now. But it's certainly a lot blacker than it was. We'll just have to see, I think, see how long this lasts. I'll keep you updated. But as I say, on the E31 plastics, it lasts 5 years and it stays black as well. It's not so it's sort of goes grey straight away. No, it stays black and it looks lovely. Now, that's the best way to put it on with just a small amount of, just a little square of cloth. And it takes the dirt out as it does it. Yes, okay. So that doesn't look too bad. It's getting late. So, new bit of cloth. I'm going to try another coat on the middle section, which is always the troublesome area. Good exercise this is as well. So just dip it in just so it touches the surface. There we go. Try and do the whole top surface in one go. So we won't go down the edge. Just do the top. Keep it away from the seal. Let's get a bit closer than that though, so I get my fingernail in the seal, so I know exactly where I am. And there we go. A couple of bits there, could do with a bit more. I'm not going to be tempted to do the inside edge and the whole car smelling of teak oil. That wouldn't be pleasant. There we go. Right, let's just see how that goes, really. It's about all we can do. At the moment though, that doesn't look too bad at all. That's got a nice finish to it. It's a nice matte finish and it's very black again. So yeah, that's good. These bits of plastic around here, the teak oil makes them look slightly better, but they really don't take the oil. And I find that with some rubbers and some plastics that teak oil just doesn't sink into it. But this, it's sunk into that, so that's good. I'll have a quick look around just to make sure I haven't missed any glaring bits. I think it'd be probably better served by leaving that to dry today, because it's getting late. It's gone 5 o'clock now, so it's going to get damp soon. So I'll leave that like that. And yeah, see how it goes, really. Right, here we go then, about a week later, and the rear deck is looking lovely and shiny. But that's not due to teak oil, that's due to Meguiar's Ultimate Black. Now, the teak oil looked fantastic for probably a couple of days, and then the sun just faded it all again. And with the top up, this was all lovely and black, as usual, and the usual outside edges, and all along the top here, gone all grey again, so absolutely useless. So I've put some Meguiar's on that, and that will last probably a couple of weeks, I should think, before it needs to be reapplied. But it's only a short-term fix. I've tried quite a lot of other things. Tried Zano 14, and as you know, I use a lot of Zano stuff. But that didn't work at all. In fact, it made it look a lot worse. I tried it on a small area, made it look very shiny. But it didn't make it black at all. It just looks shiny, and that's not the plan. We don't really want to have a really shiny bit. We just want a dark bit. So, as I said right at the start, teak oil works on a lot of things, a lot of plastics, but not all of them. And unfortunately, the E64 rear deck is one of them. It certainly doesn't work. In fact, on the E31, which is where I started, it worked really well on the number plates around, door handles, grills and stuff like that. Where it didn't work so well was on these bits, the gutters and the bits around the windscreen, around the windows. They're okay and they're better, but they're nowhere near as good as the door handles, which came out really well. So again, yeah, teak oil, the trick with teak oil works really well on some plastics, but not all of them. And we found a few that it didn't work on. But on the E31, it works really well. Right, well, that's about it. I'm going to try different methods to get this back to black again. My next plan is probably to use some paint dissolved in alcohol, because that will sink into this plastic and it will take the pigment with it, in which case this will remain black. But I'm going to practice on a few things first, because that sounds rather permanent. But anyway, this was worth a go, but unfortunately this wasn't the solution. Meguiar's Ultimate Black is the best stuff at the moment. So anyway, thanks very much for watching, thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you next time.